Well, I mean, the struggle is real. When I have to put water into the Keurig, it just feels exhausting.
I've been trying to rise above those kind of things lately. I know that, though. It's true, admittedly. When you're like, fucking A, there's no fucking water and the blue light's on. Yeah. Damn it. What I was talking about this morning on my latest video is, so you've got all these people that are out of work due to the coronavirus, which is terrible. And you've got mortgage companies that have decided they're going to allow people forbearance and they can defer payments till the end of their mortgage and this and that. So then you've got people not paying their mortgage for 3 to 6 months. But if you go back to the front end, when the top level big boy lenders are purchasing these loans, purchasing the mortgage, they're expecting a certain amount of money to be coming in, and they hedge that against the next things that they approve and they buy. So all of a sudden you've got, the unemployment number was somewhere around 3.3 million that people filed for unemployment last week. So let's pretend like half of those 1.5 million people that are homeowners decided to defer their payments for 3 to 6 months. That means there's no money coming in on all these loans. So none of these loans are getting paid. So there's no capital. It'll be interesting. That's all I can say. I think it's great.
Yeah.
I think it's great for people that are under pressure. It'll be interesting to see. It's just unprecedented. And so what I was also talking about is, I have people calling me that are in the midst of their loans that are also thinking about, I was just outside with the people across the street with 6 feet in between us talking about, does he think he need a refinance right now? The answer is not today. You don't, because what you're seeing on the news is, interest rates are so much they're so much lower right now because of, all this stuff that's going on. It's not actually what is true. When the media is a little bit behind what we're actually really seeing in terms of pricing, and you've got all this stuff going on where the lenders are not sure if they're going to get paid back, or all the stuff that they've already committed to if they're going to get paid for. So then it goes down to the loan servicer to pay it. Then it goes over to Freddie, Fannie, and Ginnie to pay for it. And if they don't have any money to pay back these funds, then it's eventually going to roll over to Mr. and Mrs. Taxpayer for all of that to end up being paid back. And in turn, the lenders are just really hesitant to buy a loan from anybody who's not like picture perfect on paper. So, if you don't have a great credit score, if your loan to value is not good, the guidelines are just getting really, really tight at this time.
Well, let me ask you this. This is something I'm curious about. People's credit scores are going to get fucked.
Totally fucked.
Right now. How is that going to show up? I know you can't really, you don't have a crystal ball, but there's so many people freaked out about their credit getting fucked up, and it's not their fault.
So anybody that has debt, if you have a credit card and you purchase some shit on your credit card, then you agree to pay it back. So it's not their fault that they lost their job, but it's a debt that they agreed to. So when it comes to, especially, credit card is debt, and school debt are the couple things, and medical debt are the ones that we'll also see a lot of. Those are the ones I see on credit reports. And if you're late, it's all automated nowadays. It's not like this computer system can understand that you're going through hardship. If you pay on the 16th and it was due on the 15th, it's a late payment according to your credit report. And you can go through a process to try to build it back up. But if you're late, you're late. That's all that I know so far. Will that change with different things happening? Maybe, but, everybody.
That's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering, because this is unprecedented, will this change? Because, will it change? Because, yeah, you agreed to the debt, but you did not agree to having to be locked down. You did not agree to not being able to go to work. You did not agree to having to shut your business down so that you can't keep your responsibilities. You didn't agree to any of that.
Totally. And it's also a lot more widespread than we've ever seen, because it's it's a government requirement for a lot of these places that it's just, they're shut down. There's no choice. The stimulus package the stimulus bill, that is, hopefully will solve a lot of problems for people. And I just kind of don't watch it right now because it's so up in the air and there's so much fake news going on. But I know the guy across the street from me, he said he works part-time. He's retired. He works part-time and he filed unemployment for his part-time job, I guess, or however that worked. But he said now the stimulus package is going to give him a whole lot more money than he would be collecting from unemployment. I just didn't understand what he was talking about, but I know there's going to be money coming for people, which is a good thing, but
there's the unemployment is going to be higher than what it normally is, which is another controversy because, some feel that, it's not going to inspire people to get jobs because they're actually going to get more on unemployment than they would at their jobs, right, based on types of jobs that they have. So they said if the average income is 30,000, your unemployment is going to be equivalent to 50,000.
Yeah. So why would somebody go get a job if they can get that? So, I mean, is there a cutoff date? I guess they'll have a cutoff date when.
Yeah, there is a cutoff date. It's like 16 weeks of unemployment, from what I understand. But I'm still begging for the answer on what does that mean for. I mean, it's wonky for me. I have always been a business owner, but not on payroll. This is the first year, 2020, that I went on payroll in 11 years to actually save money tax-wise. I mean, there's a couple different ways you can look at it. I can deduct payroll. I can't deduct when I just take money out. So, and self-employment tax in South Carolina is so high. So I switched over to payroll, but I cannot collect. Because I said, can I fire myself because times are tough and my company can't pay me? Can I fire myself and go collect unemployment? The answer is no. Because I'm an owner of the company. Even though I pay into unemployment, I cannot go collect unemployment. So does that make me self-employed? No, because I'm not on a 1099. So there is going to be something for 1099 self-employed workers, thank God, because there's so many of them out there. And there's going to be unemployment assistance, but there's this gray area for a business owner on payroll. Nobody can seem to find the answer.
Leave it to you, Gina, to come up with some shit like that for them to figure out. Oh, gosh.
God forbid.
It's definitely... It's just unprecedented times because you don't know. I spoke to a friend of mine yesterday who I very much respect her opinions on things. And I avoid news and I avoid social media opinions right now because I think there's a lot of conflicting information going on. So I'm very careful about who I will actually listen to when it comes to their information. And this individual, I said, well, do you think it'll get as bad down here as up in New York? Because it seems like I figured we'd be kind of containing it since, like down here in South Carolina, like I don't really like to get within 6 feet of anybody, frankly, like at any time. And we're just not in a population, in a scenario where you're like bouncing off of other humans. Like if you're in New York City, you're stuck in the subway, you're on busy streets, very close proximity to people, easily probably to catch the virus if you're stuck in a subway or a train for 15 minutes to an hour. But down here, we're not near each other. And her opinion was we probably wouldn't have so much of a problem, except for the last few weeks, there's been all kinds of people from New York, New Jersey flying down here to vacation. And I know you just mentioned, Gina, that they've created an ordinance to limit who is in town visiting, but these folks have been coming down here for several weeks now, getting away from it all and bringing whatever that is down here. So her opinion is that we're about to see an explosion of it around here due to that.
Hello, everyone. This is Keith Walters, the occasional male voice on Women Your Mother Warned You About. I'm going to interrupt this show just for a moment to make a personal appeal. I have 2 asks related to the COVID-19 situation. Ask number 1, if your organization or one you know has excess capacity, excess manufacturing capacity or similar, and would like to repurpose to use those efforts to create personal protection equipment or similar items needed during this crisis, I would like to know about that. And secondly, if your organization or one you know is in the process of repurposing or has successfully already repurposed to create these kind of items, I'd like to know that as well. I'm working with a group to help coordinate these efforts. We need to know what kind of capacity is out there to help with this. You can reach me through the womenyourmotherwarnedyouabout.com website, find Keith Walters, look up my LinkedIn, and connect with me that way. I look forward to hearing from you. And now, more Women Your Mother Warned You About.
Well, that leads me to, here's another topic on my mind with all of this. And by the way, welcome to Women Your Mother Warned You About. The podcast that is making business sexy again, even during COVID-19. So you're a mom and you're at home homeschooling and working. There are a lot of parents that can't actually pull that off, especially first responders. So a friend of mine who's a nurse, she has to go to work. She can't stay home and work from home because she's needed, and she can't bring her kid to the hospital, and she's a single mom, and school's closed.
So is the kid in the closet?
The kid is in daycare.
I'm kidding. I was trying to make a joke in the middle of what I knew was about to suck.
Daycare. I'm like, daycare's open? Well, yeah, the governor didn't shut down daycares. The governor shut down schools. And I'm like, okay, let me understand this.
Well, actually, there's not, and I could be wrong, but there's not a lot of cases of this in kids, what I hear. Could be wrong. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I don't know.
I've heard that.
They're high risk.
The risk group is babies and older folks, and everybody I figure is at risk. I think that probably is hard to put your kid in daycare. I would,
but if
I just wouldn't do it.
If they're not, I mean, if we're talking babies and older, right? Again, I'm not a mom. Why are the schools closed?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't put my kid in daycare. I'd find an individual and pay them, because it's probably, number one, you'd probably be saving money, and number two, it's a better scenario. And that's what I would do.
And she was challenged with it because, now this might be very niche, she could keep her kid with her mom, but her mom's in that higher risk category,
right?
And she's coming home and she's at risk because she's at in the healthcare sector.
Well,
right. So there's a chance she's bringing it home.
Yeah. To her kid, even if the kid's not going to get sick, the kid could give it to her mom. I mean, my solution, right. I like to think out of the box, and I would go, there's 3.3 million people out of work right now. There's bound to be a 20, 30 something who would love to have $10 an hour, which might be less than what she's paying for daycare.
Right. If they haven't been freaked out yet about being around people.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's just, there's no easy answer.
There is not at all.
I was just like, I was just surprised to hear that daycare was open.
Well, it has to be for scenarios like the one you just described of first responders, that you absolutely can't bring kids into that scenario for multiple reasons. And I don't know. I mean, I don't want to hear about a scenario where children are getting sick, because, I worry about that. I just figure we really are not around anybody, us two. Roxy goes to her father's house and she comes over here. She is perfectly content. In fact, could probably live the whole rest of her life doing FaceTiming her friends and be just fine. No, that's not seriously, but she's doing okay with it. I will say, as a mom, it's really, really hard that's been my hardest thing about this whole thing, is trying to balance my work and getting the schoolwork done, which is Roxy's been very resistant to it. I'm sure that she's not the only child that's resistant to it because they're at home. They're not in the element. I'm sure they're all children are better at school when they're sitting in school because there's no distractions of their stuff around them. It's hard. It's hard to, I have to, and I'm a workaholic anyways, so it's hard for me to go, okay, you know what, this work can wait. Let me 100% focus on this child right now. And, you know, let's do this and try to make it easy and make it a moment of connection. Sometimes it leads to a fight. But it's definitely tough. You know, I think it's eye-opening for parents. But I also have said in a few other forums that, hey, and we might have talked about this on the last episode, that I know I bitch all the time about they should be teaching kids how to balance their checkbook and how to, you know, do laundry and how to do these kind of things. How's your gents, people?
And you're like, get away. I'm busy. Here's some detergent. Go learn how to use the washing machine.
Yeah, I don't want anybody touching my laundry, but damn it, if I could get her to make a cup of coffee for me.
You should. Yeah, that's a good one to teach.
God, I've told her since she's old enough to comprehend my words, if she would just make me coffee, I'd pay her money. Just keep it coming, baby.
What did she say? Obviously not a task she wants to do.
Just say she's not
for.
making money. Besides, I have a freaking Keurig, so it's so easy. It's like nothing.
Well, I mean, the struggle is real. When I have to put water into the Keurig, it just feels exhausting.
I've been trying to rise above those kind of things lately. I know that though. It's true, admittedly. When you're like,
first world problems.
Fucking water and the blue lights on. Yeah.
When I wake up in the morning and I see the blue light, I'm like, damn it. I got to spend an extra 60 seconds putting water in.
So, Gina, tell us about some of your... I know that because a lot of what you do is public speaking and corporate training, and I know a lot of those types of events have been canceled. So what kind of solutions are you seeing people come up with? I know you've done some forums lately with people trying to come up with creative solutions to our current issues, especially yours and what you do for a living.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I've been focusing on as a speaker trainer is taking things online. I mean, I'm not foreign to doing things online. I'm not foreign to doing webinars. I mean, I've done this for years and years and years. So I've been spending more time doing added value. Like, let me just be of service right now and facilitate something or provide some free training. It's interesting. We did a session today that I created called Marketing and Selling During a Crisis. You know, what not to do, what to say, how to message. Like, this is not a time to be like shoving your products and services down someone's throat, because they can't even wrap their head around thinking about buying what you're selling, because they're thinking about, well, can I put food on the table, and will I make rent, and can I pay the mortgage? That's where their head is, whether they're an employer or a business owner. So you got to be super sensitive and have emotional intelligence. And I talked about that today, about the need to be emotionally intelligent and to also recognize Maslow's hierarchical needs. So when you look at that pyramid of human needs, where the very first need at the foundation for humans is physiological, you know, do I have a place to live? Am I sheltered? And then followed by safety. Am I safe? Those are the two first things that, like, those things we must have before we can do anything else as human beings. So because we're in this state of mind of not feeling safe, you can't get people past that hump right now to be comfortable, to be buying things.
Well, if the where am I going to live is also foundational. That's, as we started talking about at the beginning of this episode, they're smart. They're starting to sort of wise up of like, well, you don't know when this will be. And am I going to have a house? Am I going to default on payments? what's going to happen. So they don't feel
Yeah,
safe and they're worried about where they're going to live.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So those are huge. Those are huge right now. So what can you do right now? And that's, provide some kind of forum where people feel safe, protected. And in the selling process in general, people don't feel safe in the safest of times, right? Because they're uncomfortable with you trying to sell to them. So they already feel kind of this fear around being sold to, but they can't even wrap their head around purchasing right now. So,
well, and I've seen a lot of individuals, just various like dancers doing dance classes online, people doing online fitness programs. I know there's people selling them, but there's also a lot of individuals offering free content, which is, number one, a really great thing to do. But number two, from a sales standpoint, if somebody, say, I'm thinking David Goggins, I just adore him. His book, Can't Hurt Me, is just amazing. And he did this free workout on Instagram and Facebook the other day, which about half freaking killed me, first of all. But second of all, while he's on there, he's got like 10,000 people watching this thing and participating. And he wasn't doing it directly, or maybe he was, that people were like, oh, you should sell these workouts. You should sell these workouts. And he had a lot of people, because his girlfriend was filming it and she was taking the questions as he was doing the impossible workout. But people were asking, hey, I love your book. Do you have another book coming out? So casually throughout this, he's talking about his next book. So then I'm going, oh, yes, I can't wait to get it. It's like a casual sell in the midst of giving something. So, we've all been taught in sales, give value first, have your freebie giveaway, your lost leader, all that stuff so that you can get people in. But right now is a really great opportunity. If you have a product or service that you would like to offer people, just even test it out. Because right now, shit don't even need to be that good. It just needs to be there and available.
Yeah.
It's just, people want something of value, and they're looking for stuff. I mean, heck, I got on Facebook just the other day briefly. There's a friend of mine, she was just on a Facebook Live, and I was like, hey, let's check this out. And it was completely just a discussion about what Disney movie should I watch next with my kid. But people are willing to engage in that because they want something different than the constant bad and scary news we're getting.
Hey guys, sorry to interrupt this amazing episode, but I just wanted to give a really quick shout out to Dermavogue, who is our fantastic sponsor. Dr. Turek and his staff over at dermavogue.com help Gina and I to look and feel our very best. So if you're curious about little magical secrets that Gina and I use to look so amazing and also to feel amazing and navigate this difficult world, check them out, dermavogue.com. Thanks, Dermavogue.
We talked about that yesterday, about different episodes that we want to do, and people need a break from the news. Like, I get up in the morning and I'll check in on like, what's the newest thing I need to know about COVID? How many people have died?
Really? Do you do that?
I do when I get up in the morning when I have my coffee.
That's how you start your day. How many people died?
I don't know. I don't start my day.
Okay,
that
good.
way.
I was gonna say we need to have a tongue to Jesus for a second.
No. I don't know. I start my day in solitude and meditation and journaling and
good. Thank you.
Feed the dogs, make coffee,
clean up the dog vomit if necessary.
Exactly. And then kind of see what's going. Now, normally I actually don't turn the TV on right now because of what's going on. I do, just to like find out like what do I need to know? Has our city shut down? Like, are we on lockdown? Are we like, so that's the only reason why I'm checking in. But I can't do it for very long because then it starts to create major anxiety for me. And then I might check in at lunchtime when I stop to have lunch.
See, I don't do it at all because my husband listens to the news, and his parents send me umpteen emails right now with updates. I can't even do it. I can't look at it. Well, I don't want to know how many people have died because I just can't.
Well, I mean, you can't avoid it because they, some of the news channels have like a freaking clock up there of like,
Lovely.
the newest number, which is crazy. Like the media is just sticking it in your face. One reason why I check in is because I want to know what's going on in the world so that I can be more sensitive. So if I'm not aware of what's going on in general, right, then I might end up sounding like an asshole when I'm talking because I'm clueless. And typically I am clueless because I don't watch the news a whole lot anymore because it brings my energy down as an empath. So
I would venture to have the opinion that no one that you're talking to wants you to reiterate the death toll.
Well, I'm not. I'm not like, how many people died today? No, I'm not.
But
not
yeah,
doing
no,
that,
I
but-
agreed that it is good to know if there's some new twist or turn, just to be up on current events of like, hey, suddenly there's something good just happened. And the ventilator that the Dyson guy,
Who?
the Dyson company came up with an invented a ventilator that they're producing like 15,000 units. Boom.
Well, that was another thing we talked about in our webinar today is, in all of this, there is opportunity for innovation and invention, right? Because you have to kind of rethink the way you're doing things. You have to redo the way you're doing things. Getting back to like you asking what I'm doing, like actually Doug had brought this to our attention before we were recording about Patreon.
Patreon is spelled Patreon. Pretty cool looking site.
Yeah, I'm gonna for bringing like our shows, our improv comedy shows online, or how can we generate a little bit of income where people donate something to our services. Like, so I'm looking at that. I've done training online for years, but I'm gonna start ramping that back up and pushing that back out. But I don't want to go out and like hard sell it. So right now what I'm trying to do is just added value. Like who wants to get their team on? Like I'm trying to do some sales training for hotels. That bunch of hotels can jump on, that I won't charge for, just as a way to bring people together. And then when it's time to do training later, I'm top of mind.
That's right. And that's exactly what I think that was my point when I started bringing up the people that are doing all this free stuff is if you get people in there, the whole basis of all sales, successful sales is know, like, and trust, right? So you get involved and Gina's grabs you guys and brings you into this excellent training about improv for sales. And then you love it so much that once we get through all this thing, there will be first of all, there'll be a lot of people that are suffering and trying to dig their way out of it. But there will also be people that are suddenly like, oh, I can let go of the chokehold on my funds and I can invest in something. And boy, that Gina has been giving me this amazing content for my team. And now I'm ready to help her. Like there's going to be that, I do believe. There'll be people that become addicted to you in a way, for lack of a better term, that are addicted to your content that you're putting out there. Cause until you figure out the way to monetize it, just give it away to people and they'll become used to the habit of having you around and they'll start learning stuff.
And you don't have to give everything away because there are some people that are opposed to giving things away, especially in the training realm. This is one thing I've learned over the years. Like I can give stuff away. Like I've got a book of play, which is a bunch of improv exercises, which I did, by the way, finally find on my website. If you go to pivot10results.com and you pull down sales solutions, you'll see the book of play. So the book of play is improv exercises that you can use in your business. Now, sometimes I give that away for free. Sometimes, on the website, if you're just someone going to the website and you want it, you can go buy it. But, if I'm in a client training session, it's part of a service that they get. People are like, why would you give that away for free or even sell it? Well, at the end of the day, people are going to eventually want me to facilitate it or want me to train it or want my spin on it or want to walk through it with me. or with my team. So, there's only so far you can go with that tool without me.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, you can liken anything to how many friggin' fitness books can you buy online or videos can you watch. It's a lot more effective when I go see my trainer and he's forcing me to do one more set when I don't want to do it. It's 100%. People need people. People who need
people are the luckiest people in the world. Oh my God, we need help. That was like one of the first songs I ever learned.
Really?
And I was in 8th grade. Yeah, I did a show and I had to be able to sing that.
Barbra Streisand's
in
no joke,
8th
man.
grade. 8th grade.
Kudos.
In a show at my Catholic grade school, St. William's. It was a fundraiser we did every year called Clowning Around the Corners. I don't know why, I just
Total
flashback to
tangent.
all of that.
Speaking of Barbara Babs, I read this really great book a long time ago about auditioning, and it does tie in. There's a reason for this. It's all about thinking outside of the box. So right now, we discussed in our phone call yesterday with the team, with Keith and Doug, about some of the amazing companies that grew out of the last recession in 2008, such as Uber, Airbnb. Can't think of any other ones, but those are two biggies. So thinking outside of the box, this is their opportunity. I was thinking of that book, Gina, that you gave us all for Christmas one year, A Beautiful Constraint. It's a book called A Beautiful Constraint. It talks about you can come up with the best shit sometimes when you're constrained and limited. So, don't think that you have to do what you've always done. And sometimes you have to do something different to be noticed. So really great story about Barbra Streisand when she first got cast on Broadway in Funny Girl. I have the chills thinking about this. So she showed up to her audition on Broadway late. She was late. She comes running in. She's like stumbling all over the place and she's like chewing gum. She takes out her gum out of her mouth and sticks it underneath the seat of the, like the stool that you can sit on to do your audition. She sticks it underneath her. And then she goes into this whole thing of like, oh my God, I was in such a rush. I have 2 different shoes on. She's got 2 different shoes on. And then she just does this whole thing. And then she goes on to sing and they think that she's amazing because she is. She's Barbra Streisand. But her deal is she knew she's not the prettiest. She needed something to help her stand out. Well, in the end, she was perfect for Funny Girl, and they cast her in Funny Girl, and the rest is history. But the interesting thing is the director who was auditioning her walked up on the stage after she left and looked under the stool, and there was no gum there. So the whole thing was an act that she came up with to stand out. I've always remembered that it was just so fascinating to, just do something different to be noticed. And this is your opportunity out there, whoever is you're listening. If you're struggling of like, what the fuck do I do now? Because I know there's a lot of people thinking that. Just come up with something that's so authentically you and go with it.
But how do I do that?
Meditation, bitches.
Well, I give that little whiny voice because we get stuck in our heads on that. Not everybody can see that. I mean, we are women your mother warned you about, so we're a little bit on the renegade side of doing things because it's just in our DNA to do that. But everyone has the capability to do it. First be kind to yourself. Do not push yourself like to have all the answers immediately. I mean, that's kind of one thing that I've done in the past week or so. Like so today is, I think it's the 27th. Is today the 26th or the 27th of March?
Friday.
So last time we did an episode about COVID was on the 17th. So 10 days ago. And we don't normally date ourselves on these episodes, but because we're doing kind of like a little mini series throughout, a lot has happened in 10 days.
It doesn't even feel like 10 days ago that we did that.
Yeah. I mean, a lot has happened. And now I forgot what my point was.
You said be kind to
What was I saying?
yourself.
Be kind. Thank
Don't
you.
push yourself.
Be kind to yourself. So what I did in the past week was I've been cooking like a nut job. Like all I've been doing is cooking. Like some people don't even recognize me. They're like, who are you? Friends coming over like, this is just weird to see you doing this. They're actually uncomfortable watching me cook because I think they're afraid I'm going to poison them. I'm like, no, I can actually cook. Just, I've just been running this life where I'm, when I was traveling a lot, like last thing I want to do is come home and cook. And I didn't always have the right arena for it. And now I have like this amazing kitchen.
Your house is bomb. It's killer.
Thank you. It is amazing, amazing kitchen. My point on that is that I will often turn to cooking as a form of meditation. And so I've been, instead of dealing with the reality of it, I've just decided to kind of surrender into it by cooking, because the cooking helps me just kind of detach a little bit. And it's in the detachment. It's kind of like back to the book, A Beautiful Constraint. It's in that detachment, I can take my time to let things happen and come to me, versus me like, gotta come up with an idea. Mm-hmm. What's the idea? You don't have to come up with it. You can let it come to you. And there are different ways you can do that, which is through meditation. Cooking to me is a form of meditation. There are studies out on how hot water, like being submerged in hot water, whether it's a hot tub or a hot bath or a hot shower, hot water or being in water actually opens up creativity. So, I mean, I come up with a lot of ideas in the shower.
Yeah. And, it may be different. Like, I hate to cook. I freaking don't like it. Everything would be a smoothie if I had my choice, but luckily my husband cooks. But my meditation is I like to work out. It calms me down.
I was gonna say, that's the other one. Yeah.
And then like this morning I got up, I took my dog to walk on the beach. There was nobody there. It was social distancing, but I'm at the beach walking, like you can't help but have ideas flow. So as to Gina's point, like if you are worried about how to come up with a creative idea, just do what makes you happy in this moment, whether it be cook, whether it be lay on your back on the ground, whether it be, sometimes watching some vegging out and just letting your brain relax and not worry helps. Also, another thing is to let someone else give you some perspective, like somebody like Gina, who's got great ideas and incidentally a company that can help you come up with how to pivot in your business, that you may not actually see your own strengths sometimes. Yeah. So it helps to, whether it's someone professional like Gina that can do it, or someone, your spouse, your best friend, a coworker, or just somebody that knows who you really are, that can say, have you forgotten how incredibly excellent you are at whatever? You're great at crocheting. Like you could sit there and I don't know how to crochet. Do your tutorial. That YouTube thing is fantastic. Start writing your book. Start recording your audiobook.
Again with the book.
I did start recording my audiobook. But and it is proven that writing down your thoughts helps to calm you. So even if you're not trying to write a book, you might want to just start free writing and just write how pissed off you are about how the coronavirus has fucked up all your shit. And in that process of getting that out of your head, just because you might be somebody like me, I don't like to complain to other people, but that doesn't mean that there ain't shit going on in my head. And then you can get it out of your head onto paper and not, quote, bother anybody with these negative thoughts, but get it out of you. And then you might flow into something that would get you somewhere and go, oh yeah, forgot I'm fucking awesome at cooking or whatever else.
Well, and for people who are like, trying to carve out the time for that and it feels like it's hard to do it. I mean, I do a simple journaling that sometimes I write more than other days, but what I do is like make sure that I do 3 gratitudes. What am I grateful for from yesterday? 3 props. What was I awesome at yesterday? Those are the harder ones for me to come up with. But when you're forced to think about it, like sometimes it might be like, my hair looked good today. My hair gets a lot of props.
You have good hair. Mine doesn't hold curl for very long.
So when I when there's nothing else to brag on about myself, I'm like, I had good hair yesterday. So, I go, so it's the 3 brags, and then 3 desires, what are 3 things that I want. And it's interesting. And then I do an intention. What is my intention for the day? What is one thing I want to get accomplished for the day? And then it's kind of fun kind of going back and looking at them and then seeing like a pattern. Like there have been patterns where it's like, I've got the same desire listed every single day. And then I'm like, oh, that is an important desire. Clearly, because it shows up constantly.
Well, and that's why I think in one of Grant Cardone's books, I think it's Be Obsessed or Be Average. He talks about every single night, and I don't know if he does it every morning or every night, both. He probably does because he's crazy awesome. That he writes down all of those, top 10 desires and intentions, because he does the same thing. He wants to see what shows up every day, what drops off. And another thing about writing or any other habit, I'm reading this book right now. I'm reading it for the second time or listening to it. Atomic Habits, it's called. And he's talking about creating good habits or getting rid of bad habits, right? So in terms of creating a new good habit, one of the tips is, so say you want to start journaling. He says, I think it was one of the famous writers, maybe, let's say Hemingway. I'm just going to throw it out there. I mean, most statistics are wrong anyway. So it was one famous writer that said if he was in a writer's block, he would just write one sentence and then walk away from it. And even if he wanted to write more than that, then he would only write the one sentence and walk away from it. Because then it creates this desire to do more. And then one paragraph and then walk away from it. Then it creates that desire that you start as a habit, doing it every day, not a lot. Not like, okay, I'm going to write a chapter, or like, I'm going to write a page. Like that's too much if you're not used to doing it. One sentence, I bet you can. What's one sentence? This coronavirus shit fucking sucks, period. You can start with that and walk away from it, and you can do it consistently and create a habit.
Back in the day when I was really thin and I had a trainer and I was working out all the time, it would be funny when she'd want me to do whatever she was giving me to do. And she'd be like, 10 seconds never killed anybody. Give me 10 more seconds of whatever. Whether it was like 10 more seconds of planking or 10 more seconds of jump rope. It's like 10 seconds never killed anybody. I was like, damn,
I could kill you in 10 seconds, bitch.
Well, there went that theory.
I was like coming up with how you sometimes feel when you're in that scenario where you've been like planking for almost a minute and there's only 10 more seconds. And your trainer says, 10 seconds never killed anybody. You're like,
I know.
I'll kill you right now.
Yeah.
Try me.
Especially if you've been planking for 2 minutes.
What?
Which I've made it up to 2 minutes. Now I'm lucky if I get to 20 seconds. But, and I also, before all this broke down, I started actually doing that again. But, with the broken wrist thing, I don't plank on my hands anymore. So, because I'm terrified of my wrist. I plank on my elbows. But 10 more seconds after 2 minutes will kill you. But 10 more seconds after 10 seconds is not going to kill you. I don't know. I'm just making shit up now.
You seem live and well. But so guys, I just think, try and you probably won't, every day won't be great, because right now all the days are blending one into the other until we have a little bit of resolution on this coronavirus. But Gina and I encourage you to try to do things to change up what's going on in your head and look for innovation. And you can feel free to reach out to either one of us if you want to brainstorm something. Heck, we got nothing better to do aside from work from home. But I think it's important to reach out and why not? Try to find ways to innovate.
Yeah, again, that webinar I did earlier, I did 2 of them this week, and it was really cool having all these different businesses on, just thinking outside of the box for other businesses. Oh, why don't you right? It's like some really super simple stuff came up that for example, if one was an attraction that's closed down because we've got hotels and attractions that are closed now. And someone said, oh, why don't you do a live stream? Like, why don't you just have a live cam set up at your attraction where people can just get on and see different things going on over there. And they're like, what a great idea. Really simple idea. But when you're in the thick of it, you can't see it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like it's some earth-shattering idea. It's just here's an idea to create some engagement for your customers who can't be there right now. So being able to collaborate with others.
Realtors are doing that a lot right now. Virtual walk-through house tours. You know, it's continuing the real estate market moving forward. I think real estate's been deemed an essential service. Yes. But
has it?
Apparently.
Oh, interesting.
Because if you think about it, there's people in the midst of trying to close their homes, their homes. And prior to this, it might have been a month ago that somebody set it up that they sell this house so they can move into this house. It's essential.
Interesting. Well, this has been our one of our COVID-19 episodes that hopefully will be evergreen because we talked about things you can be doing to cope through crisis. So whether you listen to this during this time period of the world or in a year from now, hopefully you can take some of our ramblings and apply them in other scenarios.
Yeah, this won't be the last crisis that we all face. It may be one of the most complicated that we see in our lifetime.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that there won't be some sort of crisis that happens for you later. I mean, the loss of a job in general can create a crisis in someone's life. So hopefully everybody stays safe and healthy out there and wash your hands, as they say, and stay home if you absolutely don't have to get out, for sure.
Stay home, wash your hands, don't touch anybody or yourself.
I don't agree with that at all. If you're going to touch yourself or touch somebody, just wash your hands first.
And after.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, I guess we should wrap this up. I guess it's time to say thanks for listening, Warners. We know listenership is down right now because people are not listening in their traditional ways. So if you're enjoying this, by all means, go share it. And maybe somebody can listen while they're cooking or they're in the shower or other new ways to be listening so that, podcasts are getting listened to. So thanks for that. I'm Gina Trimarco. If you want to find out more about me, you can go to ginatrimarco.com or to womenyourmotherwarnedyouabout.com, where you will find everything you need to know about me, Rachel, Keith Walters, all of our socials, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep. And to find me, Rachel Pitts, you can find me all over social media as the Singing Lender. And also, don't forget that we've got some really great episodes that happened prior to now. So if you haven't gone through and listened to some of our previous episodes, please do so. There's some great guests. There's some great content that you could catch up on right now when you're looking for ways to be productive and improve yourself in this strange opportunity that we have of free time.
Yeah. All right. I guess that's it. We're going to sign off. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Dermavogue.
Oh, yes. And let's hear it for Dermavogue. Let's not forget that, who I believe they're still open.
They are. I'm supposed to go see them on Monday, and I'm totally going. I'm going to wash my hands first.
I am so happy that they're still open because someone's got to keep us pretty. So go visit dermavogue.com. Thank you to Dermavogue for for being responsible and supportive to bringing our show to you. We'll talk to you later.
Later, Gators.
Bye, Warners.
This really will get serious soon.
Yeah, it doesn't have to. I don't think anybody wants it to be serious.
Women Your Mother Warned You About is a Pod About It production. You've got a great idea. Let's pod about it. Visit podaboutit.com for more information.
Woof, woof. Monkey, monkey.